Oh, there we go.
That's it. That popped right up.
And yeah, it just gave us the notification. You are live. So there we go. Um, yes, yes. And you can see I'm here with Papa Hoffert. So I just got a notification on my phone that we're live. Look at that. I guess I subscribed to my own channel.
Well,
So
about time.
if someone's got to do it,
Yeah.
someone's got to subscribe to my channel. So yeah, that's right. So welcome everybody. As we're just getting going, we're to take a second. Like I'm sure my dad is doing right now.
I am sharing.
He's sharing to the Facebook land, and so we're just going to take a second and share the video feed to all the different places and share there. Yeah,
Mr. DePriest
there.
Morning from Missouri. That's right.
Oh yeah. Oh, Mr. DePriest. Yeah,
yes,
that's right. Yeah. There.
How's that? Hey, how's that? That zero turn mower happening for you? You enjoying it?
I'm sure he is. Yeah. Yeah. In Missouri, is it a year-round thing? That's the question. Can you go year-round with it?
Well, it's like a second vehicle.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So it's just pretty much, you go downtown and go to dinner if you need to.
Shutting down for the winter.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think I told you yesterday, I put some shorts, flip-flops, and a sweater on and walked outside and, clinging on to the last hopes of fall weather. And it was about 35 degrees outside for the American friends. It said it was 5 degrees and felt like 1 degree Celsius, which is probably about 35.
I thought it was kind of cool today because it was like in the 40s and 50s this morning. So
yeah, 34. Anyway,
that's cold for Florida.
I walked around in shorts, flip flops, and
middle of winter
sweater. It was cold.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's right. That's what we got up in the Great North, the Great White North in Canada for you.
All right.
So it's starting to turn. Yeah, that's right. Well, Dad, why don't you give the podcast or the live stream, the Dream Show, an update on your weather situation? How did you guys do over the last few weeks?
You mean how did? Oh yeah. So we were not affected by either of the hurricanes at all. So Florida is a kind of a odd state. The hurricanes hit the peninsula, and we're in the Panhandle. So the Panhandle goes all the way up over to Alabama, which is where we are, just right next to Alabama.
Right.
And we didn't get wind. We didn't get rain. We have friends that were certainly affected, lost their power, etc. Thankfully, that last one, Milton, was not nearly as destructive. I mean, the tornadoes were incredibly destructive that went up front.
Sure.
And unexpectedly spun off all kinds of tornadoes that trashed people's houses. And
Right.
But the hurricane itself wasn't nearly as bad. I mean, it was still horrible, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah.
So,
and you guys were
really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was coming in. It was coming in hot. So.
Oh yeah, it was a 5.
Yeah.
I mean, which is a huge thing. Winds up to almost 200 miles an hour coming at you. That's just. I mean, you just don't survive that.
Yeah. We've had 100 to 100. I think close to maybe 100, 110 miles an hour here, and that's like trampolines are flying everywhere.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Hey
Matthew, good to hear from you.
That's great. Great to hear, Matthew Calvin, that you listened to all the past episodes.
Colvin, I think it is, not Calvin.
Oh, Colvin. Yeah, Colvin. Yeah. Wonderful to hear that. Hopefully they were all blessing to you. Yeah.
Coherent. They were coherent in some fashion.
Oh, well, we try and put out videos, contents, whether they're short or long form, that would give you things to think about as it relates to walking with God, knowing the Father, dealing with the intricacies of the human heart and spiritual maturity. And this is one of those things. This is the Dream Show. So welcome everybody to a kind of an impromptu episode of the Dream Show. Last time we were set to go live, my wife and I were moving out of the office space that we'd been in for about the last 4 years or so. I think we moved in maybe the summer of COVID was when we moved in that first summer. And so now we're kind of in between some spaces. So I'm actually in our dining area, and that's the new office space for now. So we had to postpone our last live stream to kind of perpetually trying to figure out how we were going to do it, where we were going to do it, that kind of stuff. So I called my dad up about an hour before we went live and say, "Hey, Dad, do you have time today? We can make up for that last live stream." And he said, "Oh, okay, sure." So good to see you, Lean. So this is an impromptu Dream Show, and we also we are planning on going live next week on our normal last Friday. I think next week's the last Friday of the month. Yeah, on the last Friday of the month. It would be 20. Yeah. So we are planning on going live next week for the Dream Show at the last Friday of the month as well. So good to see everybody there. If you're not familiar with what we do here, this is our live dream interpretation show where we spend about an hour trying to break apart the dreams that you've had, the things that you've experienced, to make sense of the rumblings that happen when you're sleeping. Not just when you're sleeping, because sometimes a visionary experience can be, we look at the scriptures and we can look at different experiences that Jeremiah had or Ezekiel had, and they had visionary experiences that were interpretive in their elements. And so we try and make sense of what those things mean and why they've happened to you, and hope to give you either some closure or some insight into how the Father is leading you, guiding you, and speaking to you. And so what we ask is, if you're new to the show, or if you're a longtime watcher of the show, you know the routine. Post your dream, your vision, your question in the comments, and we're looking for typically shorter dreams or visions, because our goal is to break down the way that we think when it comes to coming to a conclusion about what a particular occurrence means. And so we want to help you think through it systematically, so that essentially you don't need us anymore. You would be able to think through it on your own and come to a conclusion. And so that's a great blessing to us, is to see how some of you guys have come along over the years. So that's what we're doing. Post your questions, comments, dreams in the chat there, in the comments there on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll work through what we can. So, and one of the other rules is we won't interpret someone else's dream. So, my friend had this dream about me, because we'll oftentimes have questions about the dreams that you dream. So that's another one of our guideposts. We make exceptions because we're not rule led, we're presence led. So we do make exceptions, but anyway,
exceptions.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I make the exceptions. Josh is kind of rule based, but
yeah, I'm the rule follower.
Yeah,
that's
I have
right.
to teach him.
Hello, Annette. Wonderful to see you. It's been too long since we've seen any of you guys. Ingrid, wonderful to see you. Ethel, great to have you on. And as we said, Jim and Lean and Matthew, wonderful to have everybody jumping in. So, yes.
All right, so let's get going here.
Okay.
We do have a dream from Jim, but let's talk for a second. We're going to be doing a book discussion group.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let me say this, Dad.
You do that.
Just prefacing what you're saying. For those of you that have followed the Wind Ministries podcast, which we kinds of comes and goes in our activity on it, but there's about, I think it was 7 episodes. They're also on the YouTube channel, so if you followed the YouTube channel, you'll see them there. uh, my dad and I started having a series of conversations about spiritual health and maturity.
Yeah.
And breaking apart what's the difference between those two things: emotional maturity, spiritual maturity, emotional health, spiritual health. What are the difference in those things, and the stages, how that's developed. One of my favorite questions that we pose and wrestle with all the time, and I think continually, is can you stumble into maturity?
Hmm.
And why does it seem like some people have it and some people don't, through almost no fault of one side or the other? We've got, for those of you that want to know, that's my dog in the background. And one of these days, maybe in a little bit, I'll call him over and show you guys what he looks like. So we'll see. I kind of forgot he was here, so
He will not let you forget.
Yeah, no, he won't. So yeah, we like having conversations talking about how do we move into maturity and emotional health, and what are the prerequisites, what are the things that we can do, and what's the environment that helps to produce that. And so with all that said, one of what my dad is talking about doing, this is something we've been planning for quite a while and just trying to figure out the iteration of it and how we're going to do it, is to run a book study. We've mentioned it on the live stream before. We're finally getting it put together. Is running a book study and study group. And then for those of you that remember Coffee with Ken fondly, this will be a kind of part two, or maybe a part due. Here, let's see if I can. Thompson, come here. Come here, pups. Come here. Come here. Come here. You guys want to see him? Come here. Come on. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come up here. Look at the people. Look at the people. There, that's our chocolate lab right there. So great to see everybody on. He's Thompson. He's 2.5 years old. So there we go. Oh, you guys met him. There. All right, Dad, you were saying.
Yeah. So initially we were talking about going through the book Living from the Heart Jesus Gave You.
Yeah.
Which is a great book. But it's a bit clinical in its use of language.
Well, it's written by 8 clinicians working together, basically.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
But it's so good on talking about about us growing into a relationship with Jesus that is wholehearted. And what does it take to get ourselves wholehearted? So remember David's prayer. He said, "Oh, that I might worship you with a whole heart." And that means a heart that doesn't have a bunch of other stuff there that fight against my worship.
That's right.
And so often we have this engagement with our Creator, Yahweh, that is not full and wholehearted. I mean, we can all testify to some portion of that. We've got parts of our hearts that struggle against other parts of our hearts.
Yeah. Have you ever argued with yourself? Right? I want that thing. I don't want that thing. I do want that. I shouldn't buy that thing, or I shouldn't eat that thing, or I shouldn't do that thing. We're arguing with ourselves all the time. And
the beauty of some of this is that if we kind of pay attention to brain science coupled with scripture, coupled with the growth process of a human, we can at least engage with some of the things that we are lacking, as well as what it looks like to have those things. Right. And we can also identify the things that help us move forward. So we're going to be going through a 3-book series. So it's going to take us a little while. We won't do it all at once. We'll do one book at a time. But the series is called Growing a More Human Community. And it identifies so within this life model concept, which is actually quite biblical, there are 5 growth stages. And these 5 growth stages are track with the development of our brains and how we what the things that we need. So, for example, there are things that we need as an infant. Let me show you. Let me show a quick.
Things you need as an infant that you don't need as an adult. But if you
Well,
don't
you
have
need
them
as
as
an
an infant,
infant that help you that build give you building blocks that you need for
that's
each
right.
section. So
Yeah.
our initial sort um, of stuff that we need. Let me do this here.
Well, you can think, and you can think of it as in you give a 3 or 4-year-old simple Legos so they can learn to build more complex Legos, and then building more complex Legos, and they can build even more complex Legos, which helps them understand problem solving and building. And so when you're 25, you can look back at the experience you started when you were 3 and go, "Oh, I might be able I can accomplish this thing."
Right. So
Right? It
this,
builds off of
yeah,
from simplicity to maturity.
this right here is just kind of a quick little breakdown of the sorts of things that happen in the first stage of the brain development, which is infant through age 3. There's several things happening in the brain that are going on, and each of them is helping us get some sort of skills.
Actually,
So,
this is the most active time for REM
oh
sleep.
yeah, yeah,
So this is, tying it back into dreams too, right? Because
yeah, exactly.
we
And
are
all
doing
of
a
these
dream
things.
show.
The
Yeah,
more the more we get these things healthy, the more direct and engaged our dreams will be.
that's true.
Uh,
Yeah.
so joy. Let's talk about joy for just one second. Joy is the activity or the relational participation of being in the presence of someone who wants to be with you.
That's always
Let
nice.
that just sink in for a second.
Yeah.
I'm hanging with someone who wants to be with me. You know what it feels like when you're with someone who doesn't want to be with you.
Yeah.
But what about when you hang out with someone who just wants to look in your eyes and say, "Wow, I really like hanging out with you." Like the ideal relationship of parents and children is that when as you know, if you're a parent and you come home and your kids run to the door to greet you and say, "Hey, Dad," or "Hey, Mom," whatever, and they give you hugs and everything. That's joy because these people want you to be with them and they love your presence. It's an amazing thing. It's what God says. It's what Jesus says. For the joy that was set before him, he endured all kinds of things so that he could be in relationship with people, with his creation. So, what are the things that happen early on? Early on, children are developing certain things. They're living in joy. They're learning how to gain joy. That's the first thing we learn in our lives.
That's
If
right.
we get it, we find that we delight that um, we get that sense of belonging, of being someone, of people loving us. When it doesn't happen, when we don't have these joy things that are building up in us, we get weak identity. We get fear and coldness dominate our bonds, our connections with other people. We don't trust.
Yeah.
And these things, this little section right here, every one of these is something amazing. I went through these sections, and said, "Oh, there's me, there's me, there's me."
Right.
Things that you have to address and grow from, and it's really helpful to be able to do that. But when we identify these things and we realize there's some patterns, some things stuck that keep us stuck in uh, unhealthy portions of our lives, it's so freeing to start seeing God work on those things in our lives. And he works through other people. And that's why we do a book discussion so we can talk with one another about the kinds of things that God is doing in our lives. So, anyway, I just wanted to show you just the little basic things there. We could go through them all, but we don't have time. We're going to go through dreams instead.
Yeah.
But so we're going to be doing that probably starting. We're planning on starting it in November.
Yep.
You just have to get the first book and read it. You don't have to read them all.
Right.
And we're not charging people for this, I don't think, or what did we decide?
Well, we were thinking about making it a nominal $20 or something like that, 25, something like that.
Oh, by the
So
way, hi Don. Good to see you
yeah,
on.
great to see Dawn
Yeah.
on. Just the something that um, essentially serves as a reminder to you that you registered for it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
let's
So we can let you
yeah,
know, hey, we're doing this. And so it'll probably be like every 2 weeks. We'll do a few chapters. We'll talk about it, discuss it. We'll do a Zoom or a Google Meets or whatever. Not Meets. What is it now? It's something else. Um,
Google.
but
Yeah, it is Google Meet. Yeah.
okay. But we'll do these. We'll do it so that we can meet and depending on the number of people we have in different parts of the country, we may do it on different time frames. Um, so just let us know if you're interested. And
Yeah.
the books are fairly simple reads. I mean, there's information there. It's going to be brain science, but you can get through it, and we'll go at a pace that is not overwhelming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there we
It's yeah. And we're going to be running it through the Wind Training Academy.
Yeah.
So we will have that coming out it should be out within the next few days. The page where you can find and explore more information about that, times, dates, all that. So starting in November, 4 different sessions going through, separating the book into chunks, and the expectation essentially is that you'd be reading 20 to 30 pages a week, right? It's not
I think it's a
actually,
little more than that, but we'll be all right.
maybe 30 to 40 a week. So
Oh yeah.
anyway,
we're doing it every 2 weeks. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. And Lean, we're trying to figure out probably 2 different time frames for people. So we're looking at that so that it would enable people like you, right? Who's in a wildly different time zone than most of us. Although I saw that Alexia on YouTube commented, and I think she's in France. So anyway, we're trying to work on a few different times during the day that those sessions will be held. So all that information will be forthcoming via our email list and via social media. So you'll be able to find it in both places. If you're signed up for our email list, if you're not, you can go to windministries.ca and sign up for that. If you're just, or you can just follow Wind Ministries or follow the Joshua Hoffert YouTube page. So
yeah. Yes, we are trying to make it simple, Don, as simple as we can. Because it get complex, you can get into all these. I just heard people talking this week about, and they're talking about getting walking and healing and health, and it made it seem so complicated, like you couldn't do it, but I just believe we can. I mean, that's just it. I know it.
Right. Okay.
Let's get to it. We've got
a few different dreams popping up. So let's do what we set out to do.
Let's do what we set out to do.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive to say, Josh.
The dog has gone back to just being a lab, by the way. Is just lazy laying on the couch. He's done. Yeah, he barked a couple times and now he's done. So yeah.
All right. So I am going to try to grab Annette's dream here if I can before I
we've got Jim's dream. I think you grabbed that one already. Jim,
I did.
Ethel, Alexia, and again, if you have a dream, you have a question about dreams, visions, we love emotional healing and health and spiritual formation. We love church history and world history in general, and we are low-key charismatic background, right? So I think you were in your original life, you were Presbyterian, right? Wasn't that what it was?
I did start out.
You dabbled in Presbyterian,
I did.
You raised me in Vineyard, so we're kind of all over the map. So
well, honestly, Vineyard when it first started was kind of Presbyterians with the spirit,
with an attitude.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it was
Presbyterians with an attitude.
Early stages of Vineyard, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, Annette, I see that your dream ends, and I can't find it anywhere on any of our feeds for some reason. if I had a baby, and I just want to make sure that that is the end, or if it looks like it might be, there might be more. That's all I can see, and I can't pull it up. So let's begin here. We're going to start with Ethel. She said, in my latest dream, Ethel, you still on? Just checking. In case we have some questions for you.
I found the rest of Annette's dream.
Oh, okay, good.
So I've got it up. I've got it ready to go. Yeah. Ethel's there.
All right, there we go. I saw the dad of my kids back in my place, feeling very comfy in my own place. So was he feeling comfy, or was it you? So the dad of your kids feeling comfy,
or just overall? You know, everybody. It's like, oh, this feels right.
I woke up with the thought he would be back. We had been separated for the past 3 years. Okay.
Yeah, he is comfortable.
Okay, he is there. He's feeling comfy there.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think about that? So she's. I'm assuming you're separated right now. That you've been separated.
Yeah, she says
3 years.
I've been separated for 3 years.
That your hope would be that some sort of healing or some sort of coming back together would happen. That's what it sounds like from your comments.
Yeah, that's. I mean, there's. Well, go ahead, Dad. You had some.
Well, no. So this is kind of we've run into these dreams a lot of times when people are in difficult situations where they want to see, they have an outcome they'd like to see happen.
Yeah,
and they have these dreams. So what do you think?
They're hard ones, because of just what you said. It is, and I'm not saying Ethel's dream is like this, but what I'm saying, where we're addressing the kind of dreams, the kind of dynamics we have to address when we're talking about dreams, when someone is longing for something to happen.
Yes.
Because we look back at Jeremiah, I think it's Jeremiah 23, where it talks about the dreams that the prophets caused to be dreamed. And so you think about something so much that you start dreaming it comes into your dream life.
Yeah.
Well, it's a dream. It could be
in other words, your brain is working on this all the time. How does this?
You've applied.
I'd like to see this happen. In other words,
that's right.
It's a foundational component of your daily thought process.
Yeah. So you're thinking about a job that you've applied for over. Did I get the job? Then I get the job. You get a dream that you either got the job or didn't get the job, but so we have to be able to look at it and go, okay, well, is it about a thing you've been thinking about and longing for an extended period of time on a continual basis? So we've got to be able to look at that when it comes to these kind of dreams, because of the situation that Ethel's described, being separated for 3 years. And so the first question is to Ethel in a dream like this is, would you in fact like him to be back? Is this something you've thought about, you've wanted to happen? Are you looking for reconciliation? So that's a question to ask in regards to the life circumstances.
Yeah, it's important,
right? It's very pertinent. Yeah. And then another one is from that is, how old are your kids and do they live with you? So were the kids in the house, right? I saw the dad of my kids back in my place, feeling very comfortable in my own place. So are your kids grown up and moved out? Are they adult age? Are in the dream, is he there with the kids with you? So that's another one. Is it in the dream? Is it your house? Like, is it just your house, or is it because sometimes you have a dream it's your house, but it looks very different. So would you describe it differently than what your house looks like? Is the dream in color, black and white, grayscale, nondescript colors, as in you don't remember? Was there anything else that stood out about it? So those are, I think, the 4 questions I would start off with is there a hope for reconciliation? How old are the kids? Are the kids in the dream? And is there anything else about the house or the colors that stand out?
And we ask those kinds of questions, Ethel, so that we have context for understanding the dream.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's the Don. That's a question.
good
That's a good
question,
question
Don.
from Don. Are you just watching the dream? How are you kind of engaged and interacting with him in the house? Are there things that you're doing? Um, yeah, until he gets healthy. It was the kids are 25, 21, and 15.
15.
The kids were not in the dream.
Okay. And okay. So
Yeah.
he's not healthy. So there's some issues that created a separation, right?
And
So
so then that begs another question. In the dream, you said he was comfortable in your place. Were you okay with him being there in the dream? Or were you not okay? Or were you neutral? Were you in the house with him, or were you just back and observing,
yeah, she says
um,
she saw it from above.
saw from above? So you weren't in the dream, you were just observing.
Yeah.
Which is an important thing, right? That's an important thing.
Yeah.
So there's a yes and no with reconciliation observed. Yeah. Um, if yeah. So the kids weren't there. He was just there in your house, and then were you okay with him being there? That's the other question. I mean, I would imagine so, given the dream. But were you okay with him being there? And then another question flowing from that one too is how well. So we've gotten more information already, right?
Yeah.
How long after you had the dream, surprised that he was there? Yeah. How long after you had the dream did you go, oh, I think he would like to be back? Was that kind of your thought as you were waking up? Was it a thought later in the day when you reflected back on the dream? Was it kind of, there's those things where as you're waking up, there's kind of some more things happening and you're processing. So was it a thought? I see, Ethel, you said yes, but was it which one? Yes to which one?
So what's funny about a dream?
When she woke up. Yeah.
So what's funny about a dream like this is there's not really a lot of activity going on here.
Right.
She sees something that is that's not in necessarily what what Ethel's described is this isn't something I think about every day.
Right.
So I saw this happen. I'm watching it happen. He's comfortable, which I'm assuming means that he's probably not been at peace and comfortable for some time because he's not healthy. But something changed, and he looked at ease. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what would you say to that, Josh?
Well, I mean, given that there's not a whole lot else, there's a couple layers that we can go with.
Yeah.
There's because Ethel, when she describes him, she describes him as the father of her kids.
Yeah. Let me weigh in on this.
You go ahead.
I'm going to make it easy on you.
Yeah.
Ethel, this is an awesome dream to allow you to know what to pray for him. That he would come to a place where he is finally at peace. And that there would be no more, not that you're getting together, but there would be no more
animosity.
Exactly. That's the word.
Yeah.
If this dream were to answer a question that might be on your heart, is where do we go from here? Lord, where do we go from here in this relationship? And the answer is pray that he comes to a place of peace and that he lets go of the things that have separated you. And I mean, that's just pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so going to Don's question, who's the husband representing of? Because we can go, the husband can represent, we can go through the list. Does the husband represent the husband? Does the husband represent Jesus? Does the husband represent the father? Because she talks about the father of the kids. So if we go with that angle, explaining the process of the dream, if we go from that angle, then we go, okay, well, the dream has to then be about Ethel, because if the husband represents the father, or Jesus is talking about Ethel's finally coming to grips with her relationship with Jesus or with the father, that the father is now comfortable, or Jesus is comfortable in her home, right? But then that makes the dream about Ethel, not about the husband. And in the dream, Ethel is observing something. She's not a principal actor in the dream. So that's where we have to go through the list of who does the husband represent. And the way she describes the husband is he's deeply unhealthy.
Yeah.
Or, father of your children, right? Whether they're, you didn't clarify whether there was marriage there or not. So that's another thing is, you'd have to go through, why would the Lord use a picture of the father of your kids who's unhealthy to represent himself? So we've got to go through the list of, well, could it be this? Could it be this? Could it be this? That can help us clarify what it actually is. And I think what you've said, Dad, is right on the money. Is this gives you a picture of what to pray for? Because oftentimes a dream where you're observing something is a dream for intercession. Now, note that the dream doesn't show Ethel anything about her participation in the situation.
Yeah.
So she doesn't open the door for him.
Right.
She doesn't welcome him in. She's just going, oh, he's comfortable there.
Yeah.
And she says maybe it's a little bit of both, since the separation, her relationship with the father is better. And so there could be a dual layer there too, for sure. But it gives you something to pray for. Pray that he would come to a place where he's at peace and at rest with himself and in relation to you and the family. Yeah. And that's something the father would do. But it doesn't say this is going to happen. It doesn't say you have to do anything to make it happen. It's just simply, wouldn't
that be nice?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice? Right? If that was the case.
Yeah.
So it gives you a picture on which to draw from for prayer.
Yep. It's good.
Yeah. Good. Thank you for sharing, Ethel. Did you miss Jim's dream?
No, I have Jim's. I'll bring it up in a minute.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Again, if you have any dreams, post them in the comments.
Because Jim's dream has raw meat in it, and we got to talk about that.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Jim, don't go away. Don't go
all
away.
Right.
All right. So Alexia says, at night in my bedroom at my desk. Oh, this is the content. This is the setting. A white and light blue spider climbs my chair. So at her desk or chair. I move away because my cat is going to play with it. A black spider appears like it was hidden by or inside the white one. So now we have two spiders.
Right. One climbing out of the other.
Yeah. Or be hidden by the other, one of the two.
Yeah. And is Alexia still here? That's the other question.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. For questions and comments. Some of the questions, is it your actual bedroom? Yeah, she's here. Okay. And Matthew Colvin has a great question we can address later too. He just posted. So is it your actual bedroom? I'm assuming you're asleep, because I think you said earlier that it was a dream that you had, that this wasn't an actual thing that happened. The other question is, do you actually have a cat?
Yeah, that's always a good question.
Did you just have a cat there? No, it doesn't look like Alexia's actual bathroom. How large was the white and light blue spider that climbed on your chair?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah.
Was it a small thing or was it a big thing? Her real cat. Yeah. And how large was it? And it's interesting because the white and light blue one, it's still a spider, but it's like, it's light colors. It's kind of, but then hidden inside what looks playful is a black spider, which is a little more insidious.
Yeah.
So, that's the interesting bit, is hidden inside the white and light blue one. Yeah. So yeah, just wondering how big the spider was. That doesn't really have a bearing on how we would interpret the dream too much. But it tells you how, I'm assuming it's a relatively small spider based on the description of the dream. So not so big, but not so small to be insignificant or unsignificant. Yeah. So and then okay, so then another question is at your desk, because that's a particular. Not everybody's bedroom has a desk. So like that's the question is why the desk? Because you could go there's
like what do you do
bed.
at your desk?
Yeah, what do you do at your desk?
Do you study a Bible? Do you
Yeah.
do your computer work? Do you
is
just
it a
send
place
emails?
of work, a place of study? Is it a place to relax? Yes, because that's going to be specific to Alexia. And are you in school and you do schoolwork there? Because that determines then the sphere that this dream is addressing, what you do at the desk. I get ready at the desk. My mirror is there or whatever, So what do you do at the desk? Typically, what's the desk used for in your bedroom? Say if it's work, then there's something that's going on in your work life. If it's school, it's something that's going on in a school life. If it's study, there's something that's going on in what you're studying, something you're coming across in what you're studying. Because the thing that you do there is, reflective of what the spider would be representing. So that's the question. Once if we plug it in, whenever Alexia answers, it's I'm just she doesn't have a desk in her real bedroom. Okay. All right.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, but there is a desk and she's just sitting at the desk. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
And then moves away because the cat wants to play with the spider.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm just putting
She says also the bedroom is quite messy with clothes. So.
Okay, right. So a bedroom. So your bedroom represents like represents you, your heart, your life, your place of rest and intimacy, right? It represents your inner life. That's what your bedroom's going to represent. Your house is going to represent your life. Your bedroom is going to be especially something much more, intrinsic to who you are. So the bedroom the stream is talking about that you're in a season where God is showing you there's some things to address in your life. There's some messes in the bedroom. Those don't seem too big, but there's some clothes here, some clothes here. So there's some things that need to be cleaned up. And in the midst of that, of seeing, there's maybe some messes to clean up, maybe some things to clean up in your inner life.
And it has to do with clothes. Clothes do what? Clothes.
The things you wear and you present to other people.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But that's not the actual thing that needs to be addressed. The actual thing that needs to be addressed isn't so much the clothes, because this spider is a little more, that's more present and something to acknowledge more so than the clothes, right? And as it crawls, this is the interesting part. As it crawls, the cat wants to play with it, and so you move away from it. Right? I would hazard a guess there's some things that God's calling you to address in your life. But, it's like, it's like because the cat wants to play with it. So there's a playful way of saying, well, it's okay, right? It's all right. Yeah. This isn't that big of a deal, right? I'm just gonna kind of casually ignore it.
Yeah, just the cat will take care of it.
Yeah, the cat will take care of it, right? Yeah. And a cat often describes an independent way of thinking, and an unwillingness to adapt or change. Right, the whole thing about cats is you can't train them, right? So an unwillingness to kind of an inflexibility. I'm not willing to change that thing. So when the cat starts playing with it, and it's like, well, it's blue and white. It's not that bad. I don't know that it's a cleansing dream, Don, because it's addressing something that's particular there. And oftentimes the color blue can talk about depression or anxiety, symptoms of a depression or anxiety. And well, maybe there's anxiety, maybe I struggle with that a little bit, but it's not that bad, and I'm just going to push it off a little bit. But actually, under the surface, there's something a little bit more dangerous, a little more damaging that needs to be addressed. And it's not so much going, oh, there's something inherently wrong with me. It's going, well, the enemy has tried to make a play. That's what the spider is. It's an outside influence. The spider's not part of you. The
Right.
enemy has tried to make a play. And so rather than just casually laughing off the symptoms, the response in the dream, you think about, why would you do that instead of crushing the spider, casually laughing off the spider rather than going, let's just crush it. Let's address this and deal with it now. And I think that's the issue in the dream is we've got some messes to clean up on the peripheral, but the actual thing that needs to be addressed is, that's all right. It's not too bad, right? And maybe it's anxiety and depression. Maybe it's that. Well, it's not too bad. I can just callously ignore it. Well, actually, there's something under the surface that the father is actually pointing out.
Well, and I think the white indicates something too. The spider's both white and blue,
Right.
and the white is so. Alexia, a lot of times we try to address things that cause us to slip into a downward cycle by having a more rigid sort of religious way of looking at things.
Yeah.
That we put rules in place. I got to do this, I got
Yeah.
to do this. But the problem is when we do that, it eventually falls apart. And we're left with something worse than we had before.
Right.
Because we didn't really address it. We tried to constrain it and contain it rather than walk in healing. So that I think it may be a combination of things.
That's good. Yeah, that's right. And the dream doesn't give you final closure. It just says that's there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because nothing goes away.
Nothing goes away. It's just
the clothes are
I'm
still
not gonna-
there. The spiders
I'm not.
are
It's
hanging around.
essentially moving away.
Yes.
I'm not comfortable with dealing with this right now.
Yeah.
And the father's showing you, well, yeah, but it's there.
Yeah.
Right. And so you
It's like an
in a way-
invitation, Alexia.
Yeah, exactly. A dream like that is an invitation to start going, well, what's behind the things that I'm struggling with right now, Lord? Why am I struggling with these things?
I think Alexia would really enjoy going through these books we're going to be going.
I think that would probably be, it's amazing what we discover when we realize how shaped our present life is by either the lack of care or the wrong kind of care we received in our childhood, right?
Yeah.
Which is one of the things
it
that
still
be addressing.
Has an impact on us.
Yeah.
Shapes the way we view the world and ourselves.
Yeah. And that's why, going to Don's comment about a cleansing dream, I wouldn't say cleansing dream because nothing resolves itself.
But invitation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's true. Alexia, it can be really difficult. That's what is the most helpful thing in your life when you're going through a difficult season of healing, is to have a loving, supportive community. It's also one of the hardest things to find.
Yeah.
But if you try and go it alone, it's very difficult. But if you have people pouring into you who, when you see them, their eyes light up, they're happy to see you, as we talked earlier in the live stream, people that bring you back to that place of joy. Oh man, it's such a benefit to walking through those difficult things. And because the reason why it's difficult to address is because we lack the capacity to address those things. And capacity is built in one part through the community that pours into us. That's not the only thing, but that's one of the ways capacity is built. That's one of the reasons actually that we have put up this book study that we're going to do,
Yeah.
because some of the stuff that we do as well through Wind Ministries is we offer inner healing, counseling, therapeutic prayer through a approach called HeartSync. There's a ministry called HeartSync Ministries. We've got a couple of people trained. My dad's wife, my wife trained, and they offer HeartSync sessions, which is kind of a diving deep into the parts of the heart and bringing you back to that place of peace with Jesus. To say it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
We also offer some life coaching and things like that to help people on that journey. So in the video description on YouTube or Facebook, there's links to those things, so you can click on them and see what they're all about. And when you're going through, Alexia, when you're going through those things, having someone, so to speak, in your corner can be really helpful. So I will, before our live stream's done, I'll put a link in the comments to take a look at the inner healing page that we have. And maybe you can connect with my wife. And if you don't have anybody to walk with, in that sense, you can connect with my wife or some of our other people that connect with and pray with people and help address some of those things. So I'll put the link into the comments there, and you can take a look at it and make your decision for yourself. So, but my heart goes out to you, because I understand the difficulty of walking through seasons like that. Absolutely.
And I appreciate these kinds of dreams, Alexia, because they do help us in the midst of it. It's like we go around wondering, where do I go from here? What are the things that I have to address? And we don't come up with answers. And our dreams, even though they seem so weird and so disconnected from it, when we get to the bottom of it, we say, oh, God is watching me. He's connecting with me.
Yeah.
There is an opportunity, and there is an invitation for healing. And so just having a dream like this is so encouraging, because it says you're not alone.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And somebody hears you and sees you.
That's right.
That's so big. Hey, Jim, you still on? We got the Mr.
We've also got
Dupree's.
a nets, so
Yes,
I've got the rest of hers up.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Don. It is a season we're in today. It's always a season we're in, but that's good. We need that so bad. Yeah, it's good, Annette. You had a lot of healing through your dreams. That's true. We get so much that's significant that comes straight out of our dreams. Surprisingly so. Oh,
that's right.
All right, we will jump on it right now then. Right there. Okay. Nope.
All right, let's do his.
Okay. Oh, did
And then we'll do a nets, and then we'll call it a close.
Okay, I've done something here. Share. Oh, there we go. Aha.
There you go.
All right. So Jim says there was a trailer that had many boxes of raw meat. Some of the meats were in wrappers and some were opened. There were 4 men in the trailer I took as workers who were laughing. I felt like I knew the men, but I wasn't sure who they were. One of the men spoke the name of a friend of mine. I also felt like I may have been in Tulsa, where I lived for a time. I would call my time in Tulsa a renaissance of my faith. So he has his interpretation here. He said, looked up raw meat on the internet for dreams, and I read that there was a symbol of obstacles. So the obstacles were loaded in a trailer to be hauled off, and the workers, familiar to me, angels, were happy about it. But why was Gary's name spoken? There we go. So what is Gary to you?
Yeah.
First of all, he's a friend, but like his close friend, an acquaintance. Is he your mentor? Why Gary? And not.
Yeah. What did Gary mean to you? Yeah. And was he just a friend? And
Hey, Renee, good to say. Enjoy. You got to jump off. Went on mission trips with him. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So what do you think about raw meat, Josh?
So they were going to.
obstacles? You think that that's
Well, it
true?
depends on I don't know that I would say raw meat are obstacles. Um, because there's so many things like, uh, um, raw meat. Paul talks about, the meat of the gospel, right?
Mhm.
We talk about the deeper teachings. The meat of something is the substance of something, substance of a thing. Raw meat, it can be, if you're going to eat raw meat, that might not be all that great.
Not that healthy, no.
But if the raw meat is it spoiled in the dream? Is the raw meat
Doesn't sound
spoiled?
like it.
Is it? No, it sounds like it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And were they there? The boxes were in a trailer, but were they going to be? Was it going to be hauled off? Like,
Well, he
did you
says that
know in the dream it wasn't
not
spoiled?
spoiled, but also Gary owned a moving business too.
Oh, that's interesting,
Yeah.
right? Time for a barbecue. Yeah. It's always time for a barbecue. Yes. So he owns a moving business, and
This is a moving trailer.
let's see. And I'm looking. Yeah. And so where were you in the dream? Were you just, again, were you kind of outside observer looking down on what they were doing and heard the name Gary? Are you still connected with Gary? Or were you like kind of with the guys loading things up, and ostensibly you thought you were standing next to the trailer,
right.
and you were just
They're
going,
doing that.
oh,
They're doing all the stuff.
so they've loaded the meat into the trailer, or they're going to load the meat out of the trailer? Do you know? He speaks with Gary a couple times a year. Yeah. And you felt like you were in Tulsa in the dream, where there was a renaissance of your faith. Well, it was loaded. So it was being loaded into the trailer in Tulsa, ostensibly to be moved somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I probably would say something simple like, the meat that happened in Tulsa is being taken with you. Like, it wasn't left behind. Like,
But it hasn't been processed yet.
but it hasn't been yeah, that's really good. It hasn't been processed yet. And Gary being a faithful friend on the missions field, like, so the guys loading it say the name Gary. That's the only connection to what the meat might be about.
Right.
The faithful friend on the missions field who you still connect with periodically. This is the meat that's being taken. The meat, I would say that the meat represents the friendship of the Holy Spirit you discovered in Tulsa, and it's being taken with you in the present season, and you're still processing all because it's still in wrappers. Some of it's been opened, some of it hasn't been opened. There's a treasure trove of depth that you're discovering that you've taken from that season. Yeah. So, yeah,
there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to that than you were aware of,
and there's a lot of joy as well
in the in this whole in the preparation for whatever's going to happen out of this. So you're moving the meat into a trailer for movement, to move it somewhere.
Yeah,
it's not ready for use yet, but it is going to, when it gets there, then when it gets to the place that it's supposed to be,
right,
then it will be able to be,
that's right,
put to use.
Yeah, you've unpacked some of what the Lord's done in that in your life, but there's still a whole bunch of stuff He's got for you. Yeah.
And it's a good season for it. I mean, not just there's joy in this.
Yeah, because
they're laughing, they're enjoying the time, they're moving it. Things are moving forward. Things are getting where they need to be. It's right. It's not milk. It's meat.
That's right. And it's the deep things.
There's depth to it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if you were saying to yourself, where do I go from here? What are the sorts of things? It's this dream says, well, we're getting things ready so you can get into the meat of what's going to happen, because this isn't for the faint of heart.
Yeah. That's right. It's a great dream.
Yep, it really is.
Yeah.
All right.
And we would like to come over to Jim's for a barbecue.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
would be
Jim.
fun.
When you get that meat and you get it ready to cook, just let us know. We'll be over.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Good. Okay, we've got Annette's left, and that's it.
All right. Let's bring it up.
Let's bring it up.
You
And
are
I've
the
got
bringer upper on this one.
No, you bring that up. I've just got the last. It's just like a one more sentence. So you bring up the thing, and
All right. Gotcha.
I've got the last sentence here.
All right. So Annette says, and she had this dream last month. Last month? Yes. Last month on 28th. Gabe and I had 6 children. The last ones were twins. Then I discovered rumors about a bus driver and his wife had been raising our son. The family was poor and the wife was illiterate. It came to court and the lady sold me back my son for $2,000. Well, you got some interesting dreams, Annette.
Yeah.
She couldn't spell. She couldn't spell, so they had tracing letters for her to sign her name. Then he was mine. But I don't remember ever having a boy when I was a teenager. No memory of it all. I asked my mom if I had a baby, and
And
the rest of it.
the rest of it. I asked my mom if I had a baby when I was a teen. She said yes and started crying. I said, I am so scared. I don't remember. And here, I'll do this actually to make it easier. Watch.
I'm watching.
Look at the comments.
Oh. I asked my mom if I had a baby when I was a teen. She said yes, and I started crying. I said, I am so scared I don't remember. And that was the end of her dream. Okay.
And that's I think my the only real question I have is what were you scared of in the end?
Oh yeah.
That's that I'm not quite clear. You were scared of like I have to take ownership of this child. How old was the baby, I guess? Was it full grown? I don't think she said in there, did
Well, okay, so let's clarify a couple of things real quick. So in this thing, you say you had 6 children. The last ones were twins. Is this
17.
other son a 7th child, or is it one of the 6?
That's a good question. Really good question.
Because if we move with 7, then that becomes something significant.
I'm pretty sure, Annette, you don't have 6 children with Gabe. Right? Yeah, he'd be number 7.
Okay. Okay.
Which is
And the boy was 17, and he would be number 7.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there something connected here with 7?
Yeah, they don't have 6 children. I didn't think so. Yeah, he'd be the 7th child. That's an interesting number. Right. And he's the one that was bought with a price.
Yes.
Right. That she's unfamiliar with, but has to now figure out how to incorporate this new bought with a price 7th child into her life.
Yes.
Right. And and it's like the prospect of walking it out there's trepidation. I don't remember. I have no recollection of it. And okay, so let's put it this way. There's things you're discovering about yourself in this season that you haven't realized were part of who you are. And there's things you've walked through in the past that have been great cost to the things you've walked through. but this is where you're discovering, um, oh my goodness, there's a whole facet to my life I've been disconnected from. And
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. She's got something
no,
going on here.
oh, she didn't buy him back. A lady, oh, a lady you don't. Oh, even better. The price was paid for you.
Yeah.
So there was no cost. Even better. Yeah. The lady
So
sold me back.
you said the lady sold you back your son, but you're saying it was actually somebody else who
Paid the
paid the
$2,000.
$2,000.
Right. And she couldn't spell. So the lady who paid the $2,000 or the lady
No,
who sold.
the lady who sold couldn't spell.
Yeah. The lady who sold couldn't spell. Yeah. And your mom said, yes, you did have a baby back then. Right. And you were like, my gosh, I don't remember anything about that when you were a teenager.
Yeah.
Right. Right. The lady who'd been raising my son couldn't spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So that does change things a little bit, but not significantly.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You were
Oh, you
on
go
a
ahead.
path, Josh. You were on a path.
You go ahead, Dad. You go ahead. You've got something here.
Well, I just find this dream, the context of the dream is about raising family, connecting, having a family that you're engaged with and raising. Because you start the dream off by having 6 children. The last 2 are twins, which is, so things are doubling at that point. The end of it, things are doubling. Then all of a sudden you find out, oh, there's another one. There's a 7th child that I have that I was not even aware of, and somebody else has taken that child, and they don't even know what they're doing. They don't know about life. They don't have an ability to really pay for, they don't even know how to write their own name. There's no knowledge, no insight, no wisdom at all in this couple, and they're willing to sell that child, which is interesting. They sell a child that was never theirs. They're willing to sell the child for $2,000. Somebody else comes up with the money for you. So we had the twins, and now we have $2,000. So we have doubling. We have an exponentially doubling when you bring this 7th child in. You were unaware of it, but okay, go ahead, hit it, Josh.
The light just went off.
Okay, I'll let you take over then.
There's people that have tried to help you mature that had very little understanding and very little discernment.
Yeah.
Okay. And God's wanting to know that he's recaptured your ability to mature. It was subject to people that didn't know how to do it, the bus driver and the wife.
Yeah.
And you were unaware of how it happened. Like, I don't even know how to let this thing grow.
Yeah.
Right. But God wants you to know that he's the one who initiated it, and he's the one that'll sustain it. He's the one that's recaptured it.
Yeah.
So, no teeth.
Bringing it.
Yeah.
He's redeeming it.
Yes, he's redeeming it.
7th child.
That's
bringing
right.
things
Exactly.
to a completion of fullness.
Yes.
Your life, we'll just say it this way. Your life is going to become so full, it'll be amazing.
That's right. Exactly. Yes.
And it's already in the process. It's not like it's going to happen in the future, but rather you're in the process of your life becoming so full that it's overwhelming.
And it's very possible that the $2,000, it's like, I wonder if it's like, is that a year? I keep thinking, is that the year 2000 that God's redeeming stuff from back then? So anyway,
could be.
Yeah. Yeah. Your ability to mature was handicapped by people who didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And God is bringing things full circle. And, it's like,
Yeah, that's
I don't know. I don't know if I can do this.
look at that.
Right. Yeah. So it's no teeth is still infancy. Yeah, exactly. I don't, the scared part is I don't know if I can. I don't even remember this.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can do this. Right.
yeah. I
It's
have
like,
no recollection of what. Oh God, this is like
yeah,
completely gone from me. Yeah,
yeah. So
cool. That's a good dream.
good.
It seems like
Yeah.
when you have that dream, it feels overwhelming, and
Yeah,
yet when we can break it down like that, it's actually a really good dream for you.
it is. Yeah, that's right. Great. Thanks for sharing that one, Annette. That's a really beautiful one. Yeah. So a bus driver. So the thing is, a bus driver is trying to get you somewhere,
Yeah,
but he's got a wife that has no teeth that's supposed to be caring for the maturity of the
yeah. It's
baby,
illiterate.
and
Doesn't know how to
doesn't
use
even
that
know
on
how
you.
to spell her own name, has
Yeah,
no idea, which is identity, right? Has no idea how to infuse identity into others.
yeah.
So it's like handicapping the ability of, and a child can represent your gift, right? Handicapping your ability to mature and grow in the things
Yeah.
God's gifted you and called you to
Yeah.
do.
The other people have
Yeah.
tried to take over your
Yeah.
gifts, but they really didn't know what to do with them.
Yeah. It took a little bit, but all of a sudden it dawned on me. I was like, oh, I got it. Yeah, that's right.
Which is why we walk back through those dreams sometimes.
Yeah, that's
Ah,
right. And that's
there
why
I am.
sometimes I say, Dad, you do it so that I can sit there in silence and think about it.
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Josh, I think that's bringing us to the end
I
here.
think
Is there
that
anything
is,
you
yeah.
wanted to talk about? Things going on, or what's going on? Are we going to get together next week? Next week?
Yeah, this is just a bonus episode for people
Yeah.
because we missed last month. So we will be going live next week, and pay attention to keep your eyes peeled to the social media feed. We should be having the official announcement about how to register for the book club coming out pretty soon here.
Yeah.
So, yep.
If we get really good at it, we'll I was on a book club that had shirts and hats and stuff, and that would be cool. We don't have
there
that
we
yet.
go. Yeah, there
We're
we
like
go.
well,
we've got lots of stuff changing.
we're
Right
still
now.
looking for that seventh
Right,
child.
so-
If we can find them, we'll be good.
Oh, Matt's question.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah, Matt, we will address your question next time. That's right. Next week, Matt, show up. That was a great question too. So if you show up, we'll do it first thing.
Yes, that was.
Yeah, I used to have interactive visions almost every day when I was younger. Now it's rare. Why? That's a great
and it would just take us a while to go through that, but
Yeah.
we'd love to. We'd love.
That's
to.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll be here next week at the same time. Well, hopefully on time. We were a little late this day.
Well, yeah.
Friday. So next Friday, we go live the last Friday of every month at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific. So that is
10 Central.
You two must be from Oxnard. We've come a long way, though.
That's true. But you know what? I was born in Bakersfield, Don. Josh was born in Oxnard. So what can I say?
True. Yeah, great. Okay, everybody. Well, it's been wonderful. Father dearest, would you like to say our last benediction?
Sure. Lord, thank you for your presence and your goodness, how you walk with us in all these things. You give us dreams. You open up our hearts and our minds, our spirit in the night seasons so we can hear from you. We can engage with heaven. We ask that you would increase that. You would bring great favor to dreams, that those dreams in this time that's so contentious in the United States, that you would bring dreams of peace and presence, that you would bring clarity to our hearts, and you would do that to our friends all around the world as well. And we ask that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Until next week, everybody.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.